Welcome back. I've been building mobile apps for over 5 years now, and in all that time, analytics have been the most frustrating part of the job. Not because it is technically difficult, but because of what it really forces you to become. Almost every analytics tool I've used collects far more data than I ever needed. Device identifiers, advertising IDs, precise locations, custom properties where anything can be attached, data that I then have to explain in privacy policies, in-app store labels, and potentially in consent dialogues for my users. I actually had no interest in tracking people. I just want to understand how my apps are being used. But the tools available made that nearly impossible without collecting personal data. Here's the problem with traditional analytics. Most SDKs let you attach custom properties to any event. It sounds flexible, it sounds useful, but it creates an uncontrolled surface for data collection. Think about this. A developer writes one line of code. Maybe they are debugging, maybe they are rushing to ship, and suddenly you are storing emails, names, phone numbers, data you actually never intended to collect. And years later, an audit can reveal what is actually in your database, and now you have a data protection incident on your hands. And this is not hypothetical. This is why data minimization matters. The more personal data you collect, the more damaging a breach becomes. With other words, the more complex your obligations become. So, to tackle with this problem, I chose to ask a different question from a different angle. So, instead of asking, how do we secure all this data? I asked, do we actually need this data in the first place? And for most analytics use cases, the answer is no. You don't need user IDs to understand which features people use. Or you don't need device fingerprints to see where users drop off in the app. You don't need custom properties to measure conversion, to be honest. So I built Respectlytics, and it stores exactly 5 fields. Event name, basically what happened, the session ID, an anonymized identifier that links events within a given session, timestamp, representing when the event itself happened in the timeline, the platform, whether it is iOS or Android, and the country, derived from the IP address for approximate geolocation, and the IP address is never stored on the disk. That's it. The API rejects anything else. It's not a policy, it is architecture. You cannot accidentally send personal data because the system won't accept it. Session identifiers are stored only in device memory RAM. They are never written to disk. They rotate automatically every 2 hours, and when you close the app, they are gone. And IP addresses are processed transiently for country lookup only and immediately discarded. They are never stored in the database and never logged. Only the country code is retained. Because it is enough to know in which country the event has happened, I don't really need to know the street number of the user. The SDKs are built for Swift, Kotlin, Flutter, and React Native. And they don't even contain code to access device identifiers like IDFA or Android advertising ID. It is not that we choose not to collect them, we architecturally cannot. No user IDs, no device fingerprints, no custom properties that could leak personal information. And I call this philosophy as Return of Avoidance, ROA. The idea is quite simple. The best way to protect sensitive data is to never collect it in the first place. When your data service is this small, everything becomes much simpler. The system is transparent because you know exactly what is collected and why. It is defensible, so you can explain it in any audit. And it is clear. Every field has an explicit purpose. This isn't about avoiding responsibility, it's about taking responsibility seriously. Minimizing data by design, not by the policy. And you still get the insights you need. Event tracking, session analysis, conversion funnels, segment comparisons. The platform automatically discovers patterns in your data, so you don't have to manually configure everything yourself. In simple terms, you get the analytics without the liability. I built Respectlytics because I was tired of choosing between understanding my apps and respecting my users. I don't think developers should have to make that choice. If this resonates with you, the link is in the description below. Thanks for watching and see you next time.